Happy Hanukkah. Today we're learning Bobikama Daf Lamed Tes. Says a Mishnah, Shoyer shel pikach, ox of a wise man, meaning of someone who's mentally healthy. Shenogach shoyer shel cheresh, that good ox of a cheresh, of someone who can't speak, who's a deaf person, someone who can't hear, and in the terms of the Gemara, he's considered someone who doesn't have responsibility. Shoite, or someone who's someone doesn't have a brain, someone who's not mentally healthy, the cotton, and of a young person. Chayev, so ox of a normal person who go to one of these three cases, shoite the cotton, he's chayev. The cotton, but the opposite case, ox of a cherish, a shoita and a cotton, shenogach sherish pikech, who goad a ox of someone who's normal, he's potter. Sherish cherish, a shoita of a cotton, shenogach ox of a cherish, shoita of a cotton, who goad besdim amidilem aprotopus. They put it someone who's responsible for the cotton or for the yisoimim or for the shoita or for the cherish. And then you could be made that he gold in front of the aprotopus, and then he's chayev. That's a steer to which is said in the Reisha. The Gemara straight away is gonna address this problem. What happens after he made this shur into a mud in front of the aprotopus, and then the cherish became normal, the shoita got better, the cotton grew up and became an adult. Amer holds that because you meshane rishus, so it starts from fresh, and now he becomes tam again. Rabbi Yossi no, that he became old and now there's no aprotopus involved doesn't change anything. Now a separate din in the Mishnah. There is a din that if a an ox killed someone, we kill the ox. What happens? Stadio in an ox from Spain, where they teach him to go for fun purposes. And he killed the person. He's not chayv misa. Shenemar ki igach. It says in the pasuk where it says that he's chayv misa. It says ki igach. Shur ish es ish olmei sokol ishokel asher, and then it says ki'igach that he goad v'lo isheyagichu, and not that they made him go. And in the case of ox in Spain where they make him go, they teach him to go. It's not his fault, and you don't have to kill the ox. Ask the Gemara the obvious question: Hagu fakashia, does it make no sense? Amarat, you said shur shecher shoyte v'kotten shenogach shur shepikech potter. It says that he's potter. If he goes let's take the case of cotton, a young person's shur under bar mitzvah, go the adult person shur, his potter alma inma midim aprotopus letamlik vois megufay. You don't put up a protopus, someone to be in charge of the ox of the child to take from his goof. Ema seifa. Let's look at the next case of the Mishnah. Shur shecher shoyte v'kotten shenogach. It says you do put him aprotopus to be made in front of the aprotopus to be mechayev him. That's a stira. What's going on over here in this Mishnah makes no sense. Omar Rava says Rava ochektoni. This is chat in the Mishnah. If the shur of the cotton, the cherish of the cotton, gold a few times, then you put someone in charge, and then you make him a muad in front of the aprotopus. You make him muad, if he comes again and goes again after he's a muad, to pay. Me'aliyah means not only the value of the shur, however much the hezek was, nezek shalem and me'aliyah. So the Reisha is talking about tam, and tam you don't charge. But if it becomes a mud, then you put aprotopus and then you do make him pay. Ask the Gemara, Ma'aliyas man, who has to pay? Does the aprotopus have to pay? Or does the yisoimim have to pay from the money of the yisoimim? Rabbi Yochanan Omar Ma'aliyas yisoimim, from the pocket of the yisoimim. Rabbi Yosi Bar Chanina Omar Ma'aliyas aprotopus, from the one who's in charge, he has to pay from his pocket. Ask the Gemara a question, Umi Omar Rabbi Yochanan Ochi, did Rabbi Yochanan say so? V'Omar Rabbi Yehuda, Omar Rav Asi, Rabbi Yehuda, in the name of Rav Asi said, Enis kokin enichse yisoimim, you never claim from young people's property, Elohim kain, ribi soicheles bahin. If there is a loan that the yisoimim owe to a goy, that you took a loan in ribis, so you have to pay interest, and if you won't pay the interest now, it's going to keep going bigger and bigger and bigger. Then you take from the yisoimim to pay off this loan, they shouldn't get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's the only case. But Rabbi Yochanan Omar, he adds another case. A case that we just mentioned, that a shtar, a contract, that a loan has an interest. Another case is if the ksuva of the isha, the parents, the father owes money for ksuva for his wife, so then you could take from the yisoimim. Mishum is only that the woman should have what to eat. So it's a question here. It says Rabbi Yochanan says only two cases, and we've said before that Rabbi Yochanan says that even for a shor that became a mod, you take from the yisoimim. Does it make sense? Says the Gemara, Eipuch. We turn over the din that we said before. Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yochanan says they take it from the pocket of the aprotopos, and therefore it's not steer to Rabbi Yochanan here who says they take money from Yisrael only for ribis and for ksuva. It answers our question. And Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina says you take it from the pocket of Yisoimim. Omar Rava doesn't like this. Says Rava, Mishum de Kasher Rabbi Yochanan, because you had the stira between two things that Rabbi Yochanan said, Mashbis le Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina Toye. What happened? You turned over, and it comes out that Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina says that you take the money where from the Yisoimim, and that's a mistake. We don't paskin like that. And we don't want to that Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina doesn't go lefi halacha. Why not? Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, he was a dainer. He's a dain. V'nochis le'umka de dinah. He'd go deep into the din, and he was correct. So you turning over here that he's saying that you do take from the Yisoimim, it comes out that you're making him paskin a wrong din, and we don't want him to paskin a wrong din because we know that he always goes deep into the halacha. Elo lo'olam lo teifuch. Don't turn over. Oh, you had the kasha here. Rabbi Yochanan says you take from the Yisoimim, and over there it says you never take from the Yisoimim, only in two specific cases of ksuva sisha and shtar sheyes beribis. So the Gemara Mazik Shiny, when Rabbi Yochanan spoke over there, he was talking about normal cases where the Yisoimim don't pay, only two specific cases. But here, where he's a Mazik, that's another case. A Mazik's a whole different category. And over there, Rabbi Yochanan will be masking that's another category that he wasn't speaking about that category at all. Where you're mazik, where you cause damage, there you do take away from the Yisoimim. Rabbi Yochanan Omar Malias Yisoimim. Rabbi Yochanan says that the Yisoimim have to pay from their pocket. Diomad Malias Aprotopus, if the one who's in charge on the Yisoimim will have to pay Mimni Veloy Avdi. No one will want to take on this job to be in charge of the cow of the Yisoimim, because then he has to pay from his own pocket. Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina Omar Malias Aprotopus, the Aprotopus pay from his own pocket. V'choizrim v'nifroim in Yisoimim nichigatli, and when the Yisoimim become big, the Aprotopus, the one in charge, will come to the Yisoimim and get back his money, and therefore they won't stop taking this job, because then even if they'll need to pay from their own pocket, they'll get the money back later. Very good. So we said in the Mishnah that the Mishnah says that you only take from Yisoimim when he's a mod, when you put Aprotopus. But for a tam, you never take from the Yisoimim, even if you have Aprotopus. Says the Gemara, this is a machloikes tanoim. Do you take from a tam from Yisoimim ligvois megufoi? Tanoi, it's a machloikes tanoim. The Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, Shorsh and Itzchar Shubalo of ox, that his owners became mute. They became mental. All of the owners, or the owners went away to a faraway country. Yehuda ben Nukusa Omar, Yehuda, the son of Nukusa, said, Sumchus Oimer, there's a gersa here on the side that he put in Oimer, it makes him easier to understand. Sumchus Oimer Areu betamusoi. it stays a tam. You need to make him a mud, you need to be made in front of the owners, and the owners are not here, or they're not capable to be made in front of them. You put someone in charge, and you made in front of this person who's in charge, and then you need to pay. The Cheresh became able to hear, and the Shoite became normal again. And the young person grew up and he became bar mitzvah. The owners came back from the faraway country. Yuda ben Kusa Omar, he said that Sumchus Oima now, after he became a muad when they were away, or they were mental, or they were young, and now they came back, or they grew up, or they became better, or they grew up. For now, the Bailim changed. It's type of like the Bailim before the Apotropos was in charge. Now, this young one who became an adult is in charge, or the owners came back, and he becomes a tam again. Until they'll be made again in front of the original owner who became in charge again. Rabbi Yossi Omar, no, Arei b'cheskosi, he stays a muad. So said the Gemara, Amri or Omru, the Bnei Shiva spoke about this. What's going on here? Well, they wanted to understand. At the beginning of this brayse, it says that Sumchus says that he stays a tam. If it means that he stays a tam and he never becomes a muad, can't be. Hamidiktoni Seifa, in that brayse at the Seifa we learned that he becomes back a tam when the owners come back. So Michlal, we could see that he did become a muad. So it can't mean when it says Arei b'tamusay they never became a muad, because he does become a muad. Because in the Seifa it says that when the owners come back he becomes a tam again. So it must be he was a muad in the middle. Elamai Areu b'tamusay. What does it mean Areu b'tamusay? Areu b'tmimusay. He stays in its tmimis that he doesn't have to pay. Deloi mechasrinanli. That we don't charge for a tam, we don't make him pay. Alma, we could see Sumchus holds ein ma'amidim aprotopus letam ligvois megufo. You don't charge, you don't put aprotopus and make him pay for a tam that caused damage. V'chachomim will argue, say ma'amidim aprotopus u'ma'edim lehem b'fnei aprotopus. You do put aprotopus and you do a edus in front of the aprotopus. Alma, we could see ma'amidim aprotopus letam ligvois megufo, that you do put aprotopus, you do put someone in charge, even for a tam, to take from his body. As we know, a tam pays his value. Says the Gemara, b'seifa b'maikom mifligi. So we had that to explain the ratio of the brayse, so we understand what the machloikis. Do we charge from a yisoimim and from a chere shoyte v'koton? Do we charge a tam? But or we only charge him when he becomes a muad? What's the machloikis in the Seifa? Says the Gemara, Rishus mishana ike benayu. When it changes the Rishus, when the one who's in charge is a new person, does that make him in from a muad to a tam? Sumchus of a Rishus mishana. That wants to be moved back from their protopus to the young person who became an adult, or the other cases, so now it becomes back a tam, and Rishus, once it changes the Rishus, it also becomes tam again. Rabbi Yossi, who argues, Sava Rishus Eina Mishana, that we changed Rishus and now we went back to the original owner, doesn't make it back into a tam again. Very good to understand the Braisa, and we see that the din of the Mishnah is a machlokes tanoim. Not everyone agrees. Some people hold that even a tam you could charge when a yisoimim of even a tam of yisoimim has to pay. Ton Rabbanon learned shorcher shoyte v'kotten, ox of a cher shoyte v'kotten shinogach the gold. Rabbi Yaakov mishalem chetzi nezek. Rabbi Yaakov pays half a nezek. Straight away the Gemara asks, what? Rabbi Yaakov Mavidite? Why should Rabbi Yaakov have to pay half a nezek? Or Rabbi Yaakov owns all these oxes? What's going on here? It makes no sense. Eloheima, we need to say, Rabbi Yaakov Oima. Rabbi Yaakov says, Mishalem chetzi nezek. You pay half a nezek. Okay, says the Gemara, it doesn't mean that he pays, it means that Rabbi Yaakov says that he needs to pay half nezek. Says the Gemara, B'maskin, and what are we talking about? Ibitam. If we're talking about a tam that goes for the first time, pshita, it's obvious that he needs to pay chetzi nezek. The kula alma nami chetzi nezek ude mishalim. Everyone agrees that tam pays chetzi nezek and nothing more. And he can't tell me the chiddush is that he pays, even Yesoimim have to pay tam. We saw that it's a machloikis tanoim, because if not, I wouldn't have to say chetzi nezek. You just have to say they have to pay, and we know that tam pays chetzi nezek. No one thought that Yesoimim have to pay more as a tam. So because he said chetzi nezek, it must mean that he's trying to tell you something else. V'i b'mod, and if it's talking about the ox that gored a few times, id avdile shmira klal. If they guard this cow, they shouldn't go on. He ran away and he gored. Klalo boile shlumi, you shouldn't have to pay anything, because I'm honest. I protected this cow and this cow ran away. What could have I done? V'ida lo avdile shmira, and if they didn't do any shmira. And if they didn't do any shmira, since he's a mod, he should pay everything. Why is he paying only chetzi nezek? Oh, my Rava, says Rava. And Rava, this is his mahalach. Lo'olam b'mod. Really, this brisa is talking about b'mod. So why do you pay only chetzi nezek? And here we're talking about the avdin shmira pchusa that he did. There's three levels of guarding this ox. One is not guarding at all, and then you chayev whatever it is, if it's a muad or tam. Another way of guarding is doing putting a small fence that he could run away, but not very easily. And then there's properly putting barbed wire that he can't run away. So everyone's asking that if you didn't do no guarding at all, everyone agrees that you need to pay. Doesn't matter tam, doesn't matter muad. And if you did the proper guarding, you put proper barbed wire and electric fences around, the din is that you don't need to pay if you ran away. The machloikis, what's the din if you did a small guarding? You guard it, but not very, very good. So there's a machloikis, and Rabbi Yehuda holds a very big chiddush, and he learns it from the psukim, that if it's a tam, you be chayev. And if it's a muad, you're potter. And he learns it from the psukim. That means for muad, you need to guard it less. Even though that common sense you wouldn't think that way, but that's what Rabbi Yehuda learns from the psukim. So Sedek Mor, V'och Maskin, and Avdish Omarova, Lo'ilom b'muad, really tzuma muad. V'och Maskin, and we're talking about over here, the Avdish Shmira Pchusa. You did the middle level of Shmira. V'lo Avdil Shmira Mula, and you didn't put the barbed wire around it like a top Shmira. Rabbi Yaakov, who holds over here, you pay chetzi nezek, sova lo Rabbi Yehuda. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda, the Omar tzad tamus b'mkoimo imedes, that when a muad has to pay, he has to pay half because he's a tam, and another half that he becomes a muad. It's not that it's a whole new din over here that he becomes now muad and it's a whole new din. No, it's the old din applies, and also a new extra muad half nezek pays. So he holds, Rabbi Yaakov holds like that. Vesov like Rabbi Yehuda, and he also holds like Rabbi Yehuda, the Omar muad tzagela b'shmur pchusa, that a muad, you need to guard it less of a shmira, not the best shmira. Vesovalo, and a tam, you need a proper shmira. Vesovalo Rabbanon, and he holds like Rabbanon, like who argue on Sumchus, the Amri, who hold ma'amidim aprotopus letam ligvois megufoi, that we put aprotopus, we put someone in charge to pay from the Yisoimim even as a tam, and therefore, so when this ox of the Yisoimim who has aprotopus on him, and he gored a few times, and now he's a muad, and now he did the shmira pchusa, he didn't do the best shmira. So on the muad he's potter because it's enough of a shmira. But because he holds that a tam also needs to pay. And also he holds that when he becomes a muad he's still a tam. So we have the din of the tam that he still has to pay chetzi nezek because of a shmira pchusa. And also he holds that the tzad tamus stays, and therefore you have to pay chetzi nezek on the tzad tamus. Also he holds that a tam of a Yisomim has to pay. So therefore, in that case, he has to pay chetzi nezek of the tzad tamus they didn't do a shmira meula. So that's pshat in Rabbi Yaakov, says Rava. Omale Abaye v'loi pligi. You want to tell me that Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda hold the same, and Rabbi Yaakov holds like Rabbi Yehuda, and they're not arguing? I'll bring you a Mefursha Brisa that says that they do argue, and your teretz doesn't make sense. V'atanya, we learned in the Brisa, Shersha Cheresh Shoyte V'Koton, Oxa V'Cheresh Shoyte V'Koton, Shenogach, that gold, Rabbi Yehuda Mechayev, Rabbi Yehuda holds Yechayev. Rabbi Yehuda Kavoima, Chetzi Nezek U'de Meshalim. He pays only Chetzi Nezek. So it's very clear that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov argue, and how could you tell me that Rabbi Yaakov holds like Rabbi Yehuda? Omar Rabba Bar Ula, says Rabbi Bar Ula Teretz, Mash, in this Brisa, they're not choilik. What's pshat in the Brisa? Masha Mechayev Rabbi Yehuda, that the Rabbi Yehuda said Mechayev, Pirish Rabbi Yaakov. Rabbi Yaakov said, how much is he chayev? Chetzi Nezek. But they're not arguing. Rabbi Yaakov is just explaining the words of Rabbi Yehuda Chayev. They pay Chetzi Nezek, and they never argue. And therefore, the first price Rabbi Yaakov says, he's also going like Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, says the Gemara, Abaye. Abaye asked a question and said, oh no, we could see clearly that they're arguing. B'may pligi, why is the machloikis between Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda? Omar lecho, says Abaye, here we're talking about b'mut. We're talking about an ox that was mut, v'lo natural klal, and he didn't do any guarding, not a barbed wire, not even a little fence. He didn't protect this ox at all. They shouldn't go. Rabbi Yaakov savalok Rabbi Yehuda b'choda. Rabbi Yaakov holds like Rabbi Yehuda in one din, u'poligalei b'choda, and argues about the other thing. And why that? Savak Rabbi Yehuda b'choda. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda, the ilu Rabbi Yehuda sava tzad tamus b'mkoyim medes. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda that the tzad tamus, a muad, also has chetzi tamus in it. U'poligalei b'choda, and he argues with Rabbi Yehuda on choda. The ilu Rabbi Yehuda sava marmidim loim aproitopus letam ligvois migufoy. Rabbi Yehuda holds that a tam of a yisoimim has to pay. Rabbi Yaakov Sova ein ma'amidim, you don't have to pay the chetzi of the tam. V'loi meshamlim elo palga de muad. And when Rabbi Yaakov says that you pay chetzi nezek, he means to pay, you only pay the chetzi of the muad, not the chetzi of the tam. So let's explain this a second outside, just to understand. At the beginning, Rabbi Yaakov said you pay chetzi nezek. So Rabbi Yaakov, lefi Rava, the reason why he pays chetzi nezek, it's talking about muad, and you pay because of the tzad tamus shaboy, because of the part that he's a tam. On the tzad of that he's a muad, you don't have to pay because he did a basic shmirah. But on the tzad that he's a tam, you do have to pay chetzi nezek. That's how Rava learns. And the machloikis between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov doesn't exist. Rabbi Yaakov in the second brisa was explaining Rabbi Yehuda. And how will Abaye learn? Abaye will learn not like that. Abaye will learn that Rabbi Yaakov says Meshalim Chetzi Nezek is talking about when he was a muad and he didn't do at all protection. And the reason why you pay half a nezek, you only pay on the tzad muad because you didn't do any protection, but the tzad tam, you don't pay up. A tam of a nisoyim doesn't need to pay. And the machlokes between Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda is in the case of muad. The Rabbi Yaakov says you pay only the tzad of muad, and Rabbi Yehuda says you pay everything because even a tam of a yisoyim needs to pay. So the Gemara, Amalei Rav Acha Bar Avina Bar Abaye Ravina, said Rav Acha the son of Abaye Ravina, Bishleim el Abaye, very good to Abaye Doma Pligi, who says that Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda does a tam of a tam of Yisoimim need to pay. So Rabbi Yaakov holds that tam of Yisoimim doesn't need to pay. Shapir, very good. The first reisha, the first thing that we saw of Rabbi Yaakov, who says just that he pays chetzi nezek, we have to say it's so muad, and the only reason why he pays chetzi nezek on the tzad that he's a muad, not on the tzad that he's a tam, because tam of Yisoimim doesn't need to pay. Ela l'Rava, Bar Rava, the Omar Loi Pligi, who says that there's no machloikis between Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda, and everyone agrees that tam of Yisoyim needs to pay. Why do we put the first case of Rabbi Yaakov in a whole complicated case? He holds like Rabbi Yehuda, and we say it's toila on 3 dinim, and it's all complicated. Nukme betam. Let's say it's talking about a simple case of a tam of Yisoinim who gored, and he didn't protect it, and therefore you have to pay chetzi nezek. And that's why you have to pay. Very simple. Rabbi Yaakov says you pay chetzi nezek is because a tam of Yisonim needs to pay chetzi nezek. We at the beginning said pshita. We don't want, if that's talking about there's no chiddush, we don't want to tell you that that's the case, because we said pshita. Why does he have to say chetzi nezek if it's talking about tam? Obviously chetzi nezek. But now we could explain, and we could say the reason why it says chetzi nezek to tell you that we're talking about tam and it's not talking about Baimur. They shouldn't get mixed up. It's not coming to tell you the chiddush that tam pays chetzi nezek. That we know. It's just trying to say we're talking about by tam. That's how Rashi explains. And now the Gemara is going to add on something, and he's talking about where he didn't guard it whatsoever, or depends, because there's a machloikis how much you need to protect a tam. So the Gemara says it's talking about where he didn't protect enough. Depends how you hold, and let's see that inside on Mem Omad Aleph. Ila Rabbi Yehuda, and it's talking about if we go lift Rabbi Yehuda the Oval Shmir Pchusa. If it's if Rabbi Yehuda who holds a tam needs a shmir mula, needs barbed wire, and it's not enough a little shmira, so it's talking about where he did a little shmira where it's not enough, and that's why he has to pay. Either Rabbi Loza ben Yaakov, and if you're going to hold like Rabbi Loza ben Yaakov, who holds that shmir pchusa, a middle type of shmira is good enough for tam, the lo avad le shmira klal. He didn't do any protection. The Tanya, that we see this machloikis in the Brisa, Rabbi ben Yaakov oimer, echod tam doesn't matter, tam ve'echod mod, shesham shmir pchusa. He did a middle protection. He did a middle type of guarding pturim. You potter. V'hakom ashmalon, and this is the chiddush of Rabbi Yaakov before in the Brisa. Hakom ashmalon Rabbi Yaakov. This is the chiddush. The ma'amidu le'protopus letam ligvois megufoi, that you charge ox of yisoimim chetzi nezek with when you put someone in charge on it. So why did Rava have to say a whole complicated case? It's so mamur, and we hold like Rabbi Yehuda, and 3 we said it's toil on 3 machloikis. And say simple, it's about tam, and you pay migufoi. Omalei ochikoma choda di isbei tarti tama. Really, you could explain the brayso like that, but Rava wanted to explain the brayso that we're talking about mud to tell you 2 chidushim in Rabbi Yaakov. One, the obvious chidush that tam of Yisoimim needs to pay, and also wants to tell you the other chidush that tzad tamus b'mkoimo imedes, the amud has in it half a tam and half a mud. So he wants to tell you more chidushim. That's why he explains the brayso that it's talking about mud. Ravina Omar, Ravina Nechara could learn like Rava. But he explains, we asked on Rava, how could you say Rava that Rabbi Yaakov is explaining, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda? Oh, we have him for Shabbat, Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda cholik. And we said, no, Rabbi Yaakov is explaining the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Ravina says, no, Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi Yehuda are cholik, but the cholik on a whole different thing. He holds Rishus Meshana Ike Benayu. The machloikis in that brayso between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yaakov is, if the rishus changes, if now the one who's in charge is someone else, does that make him become a tam again? Kigo in the avimud, that he became a mud in front of the one who was in charge. V'nispakeach acherish, and the cherish became unmute. V'nishtapeach shoita, and the shoita became normal. V'igdil cotton, and the cotton became big. Rabbi Yaakov Sovar, Rabbi Yehuda Sovar Rebichus Kosoi. No, he stays a mud. And Rabbi Yaakov Sovar Rishus Meshana. No, because now someone else is in charge, he becomes a tam once more again. And let's see the brayso inside again, and we'll see it. V'atanya Shorish Acher Shoyte V'kotesh Rogach. Rabbi Yehuda Mechayev, because he holds Nezek Shalom because Rishus is no Meshana. Rabbi Yaakov Mechetzi Nezek Udo Meshalem, because it changed the one who's in charge, he becomes tam again. Everyone should have a very, very happy 4th light of Hanukkah.